the talk about COVID-19 has had me going back in time a bit, all the way back to November of 1996. It was at that time that I came down with a severe case of pneumonia and was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And some of the things that I've heard people talk about, how people have dealt with different complications of COVID-19, bring back those memories. I can remember going into the hospital being given oxygen because my oxygen levels were so low. I remember having shortness of breath. And I remember having fluid that had built up all around my lungs and having to find a way to get rid of those dangerous fluids. Thanks be to God, I got better. And after those 2 weeks, I was let go from the hospital. And after a few more days of convalescing, I was able to go back to work. Well, Christmas was around the corner. My parents were coming back to Minnesota from Michigan. And I didn't have very much money to buy presents. And even if I did have the money, it would have been hard for me to go to the mall, especially in my state with a kind of a very sensitive immune system, to go and get a present. But the funny thing is, while I couldn't buy anything, there was something I could do, and that was give something that I had made. What I had made were poems. For about a year, 2 years or so, I was in a phase in my life where I wrote a lot of poems. So I found 2 or 3 that I thought were really good. I went to get them copied and placed them on some good paper and gave them to my parents. And there was something interesting about giving that to them. It was a little bit different than any other present that I had given them before then or since. And what made a difference was that I didn't simply go and buy something. I made something and gave it from myself. I gave it from the heart. And that was meaningful. What I learned from that experience is that sometimes the most impressive gifts that one can give are not the ones that can be bought. They are the ones that are given from the heart. I have been blessed to be the pastor of First Christian Church of St. Paul for nearly 7 years. And in that time, as your pastor, I've seen some marvelous things. I've seen how this congregation has given above and beyond to support the various mission partners that we have, from Hope for the Journey to the Matamidi Area Food Shelf to Solid Ground, to give people, to feed them, to give them a home, to give them a place to belong. And I've seen how this congregation has reached out to people, especially people that they didn't know well, and even give them and support them when they have gone through a time of loss and are mourning a loved one. And I've seen this congregation live out and try to be truly a place where people are welcomed at God's table. This congregation may not be one that is flushed with resources, but it has given over and over again from the heart. They've given to help people out of obedience to Jesus Christ and for the sake of the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has placed a lot of stress on businesses and nonprofits, and First Christian is no different. These last few weeks, now turning into months, we have seen a drop-off in offerings. But while the offerings have dropped off, the costs have not. It takes money to move from in-person worship to worship and online to live streaming. It takes special equipment. It takes things, the costs that we didn't plan for. It takes money to pay for staff and for utilities. We are asking right now for family and friends of First Christian Church of St. Paul to consider giving a gift at this time. Your gifts, of course, will pay for things like salaries and utilities, but they're going to do a whole lot more. They're going to do things like allow for our musicians to continue to do the innovative ministry that they are doing, providing people another way of experiencing God. It will allow for us to continue to do what we are doing online, to maintain that online presence. And it will allow for us to upkeep our building so that it can be used for the good of the entire community. And finally, and most importantly, it will allow us to be a faithful presence in suburban Ramsey and Washington counties, showing a congregation that can be true to the values that we profess: diversity, fellowship, and witness. For those who are regular givers, we like to say thank you. We hope that you could consider giving either a little bit more of what you're giving now, or to give a one-time extra offering. For those who are first-time givers, whatever amount that you can give would make a difference. And if you are a friend of the congregation, especially if you are a part of a Sister Disciples of Christ congregation in Minnesota or in other parts of the country, we hope that you would consider giving a special offering that will allow us to continue to be a congregation that will give from the heart. You can give online by going to our website at fccstpaul.org/give. And right there you can give a one-time offering, or you can set up a recurring offering. If you'd like to give by sending a check in the mail, you can give that to First Christian Church of St. Paul, 650 Wildwood Road, Matamidi, Minnesota, 55115. I learned 25 years ago about the importance of giving from the heart. I learned that even though you don't have much, what you give from the heart means something. Please, give from the heart today. Thank you.